What's up, good people? Thank you for clicking play on another episode of Big Man, Tiny Kingdom. It is I, the one and only Big Man, back again to share with you all another one of my wonderful adventures that I have been so graciously blessed to enjoy in my tiny kingdom.
You've been doing good, I'm doing better. Pocket full of money in the jeans, Gucci sweater. Got these just dropping on their knees like a catcher. I don't need no letter. I'll ship them up now.
Yes, y'all. I am your host, Andre Briscoe, and this is my podcast, Big Man, Tiny Kingdom. What up to all the good people out there? Hope you have been living your life like you know you should. I most certainly am out here letting it do what it do, making moves, making money, making memories. So let's talk about another Arizona state park that I visited. I am really close to completing my Arizona travel passport book with all of the state park stamps checked off my bucket list. There are a few properties that are closed to the public that I'm not sure when I'll be able to get to those, but for almost all of the parks that you can visit for camping, I have just about all of them crossed off except for Homolovo State Park and Fool Hollow Lake Recreation Area, which my plan is to check them out during the same camping trip. They are close to one another up in the northeast area of Arizona, actually not too far from Lyman Lake, which is one of my top 5 favorite parks. And I like to visit there every year. So I'm thinking about a full week camping trip to that area, and I'll maybe do like 2 days at each of those 3 parks. I've also said for the longest time that when I do make it back in that area, I want to check out the Petrified Forest National Park, as well as the Four Corners Monument. I am excited for that week of camping and exploring. What's really nice about it is that I can head up there in the summer months, and while it will be in the triple digits in the Phoenix surrounding area, take a drive up to the north side to where it's cooler. That's how you beat the heat in the Devil's Playground. So I'm looking forward to making plans for that trip. But let me switch gears and talk about a place that I've already had the privilege to check out, and that would be Picacho Peak State Park, located in Picacho, Arizona. My visit to Picacho Peak was a quick weekend getaway trip, and not even the full weekend. It was all day Friday. I started my drive there early. It's not a far drive from where I live, only about an hour, 15 minutes from Mesa. But since you can't check into your campsite until like 3 p.m., I used the morning time for exploring other nearby locations. One of the cool places I got to visit was the Casa Grande Ruins National Monument. It's in the city of Coolidge. It's a place where you can explore the nation's first archaeological preserve, what remains of the 4-story adobe structure known as the Big House. It was built in 1350 and is considered sacred by the descendants of the ancestral Sonoran Desert people. It is super neat to see in person. I love visiting museums and historical exhibits to learn about significant cultural people, places, and things, such as the Casa Grande Ruins location. Stayed there for a couple hours, and I did make some other stops, but I won't share all the details of all that I got into before heading down the highway to my destination. But it was a fun-filled, eventful, action-packed day. By the time I made it to Picacho Peak, I was ready to relax, which kind of defeats the main purpose for visiting Picacho Peak, which is to get some hiking in. Because in my opinion, the highlight of the park is the massive 1,500-foot mountain that is super eye-catching and is just screaming, "Please hike me," all the way to the top, so that once you get up there, you can look out in any direction and see some beautiful Arizona open range. Now, I don't personally know its beauty because I didn't hike on this visit. I actually didn't plan to. However, I've seen a lot of cool YouTube videos of those who have made the hike up to the top, and it looks really cool. I do plan to revisit Picacho Peak State Park with the intentions of hiking to the top, but this trip was just a quick weekend getaway from the house. I spent Friday night kicking it by the fire, sitting back in my chair and looking up at the wide open sky in amazement. The moon and stars and everything else going on up above us was putting on a wonderful nighttime light show. I enjoy stuff like that. It's so relaxing, so humbling to see the Most High's fourth day creations. You don't get to experience that stuff in the city with all the air pollution we got, the street lights, airplanes flying all the time, all of who knows what else is man-made, taking up the airspace. Those things block the true view of what all we can see in the heavens above. But you can clearly see things like that when you drive out the hood just a little bit. So by the fire, stargazing is how I spent my Friday night at Picacho Peak. Now, the daytime weather was decent. I had a t-shirt and shorts on, but it was chilly that night. I was bundled up in a couple layers, and the temperature dropped even more overnight because I woke up with a nice layer of frost on my camper shell windows. First time I've ever experienced that, camping in the southern Arizona region. I don't recall what the exact temperature was, but I know it was in the low 20s, which for you cold weather states people, that ain't nothing. But for us here in Arizona, it was definitely a cold morning. But it wasn't cold while I was sleeping in the truck bed. I was bundled up pretty good for clothes, and I have this heavy wool comforter. Plus, since I like to glamp at the campsites with power, I also had a heating blanket plugged in, and that helped keep me at a normal temperature. But even if I didn't have the blanket, I was on this trip with a lady friend, and she is a heating blanket all on her own. So sleeping next to her made me have to kick off some of the comforter anyway. Once it was like 6 or 7 in the morning, I got up and got to moving around, got some hot chocolate and oatmeal in my system. Then I wasn't feeling the morning cold much any longer. And despite whatever the weather conditions are, I usually always find a way to have the best time I can have. It could have been snowing or rain coming down in buckets or a hailstorm, and I still would have enjoyed myself. Taking in a view of the Picacho Peak Mountain, there are some really pretty flowers and cactus arrangement all throughout the park. In the visitor center, there are displays that give you a glimpse of what type of wildlife inhabits the area. But in my opinion, you'll get the most out of your time at Picacho Peak if you are going there for some hiking. I was kicking back and chilling this time around. I love hiking, and I try to fit it into my activity plans most times. But I also like to have those moments when I just sit back, relax, and enjoy doing nothing. Only thing I have to say bad about camping there, which is not really a complaint, just something that is unfavorable to me. It's right off of the freeway, so you are going to hear some road noise. I had to endure several trains passing by all throughout the night. I wasn't feeling that, but I also was able to ignore it enough to not let it get to me. My coolest moment on this trip was meeting a guy who was also pickup truck camping like me. First time I've ever got to see someone with a similar setup. We got to chop it up a little bit, discuss what gear we use for camping. I did tell him about the podcast, so if you're listening, what up, Steve? It was nice meeting you and chatting. Hoping you are out there camping and living your life real big. And I wish the same for the rest of you out there listening. Thanks for tuning in. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to my son, Noah, aka New Youngin. That's his music you're hearing in the background. His 21st birthday is this month on the 30th. Blessed Earth Day to you, Ben. I'm pretty sure he's already been drinking, but at least now he can do it legally. Have a shot of Hennessy on your birthday. It'll put some hair in your chest. Have fun, but make sure you're being smart and safe on your day. Abba loves you. Peace and blessings, good people. This is Big Man, Tiny Kingdom.
In a photo, not no cool. Windows tinted, can't see through. I've been sipping on that juice, I was singing. I'm gon' roll another wood, pop a bottle, just sit through it. Swimming in 50,000, feeling like I'm surfing. In a photo, not no cool. Windows tinted, can't see through. I've been sipping on that juice, I was singing. I'm gon' roll another wood, pop a bottle, just sit through it. Got a whole bunch of bad girls, just